Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually getting ready to do my first therapy session, and I thought this would be a good video. Like, how do you prepare for your first session? Because I did a video about like what everything is in that first session, like how the intake goes, the type of questions that the therapist is going to ask. But now I'm on the other side, like the client side, and I thought this could be kind of cool for me to reflect on how does the client get ready, or how do I get ready? So first of all, yes, sometimes therapists need therapists, and there's nothing wrong with that. And, I think sometimes we think like therapists have it all together because they're therapists and they understand mental health and everything like that. But, we're still human. So I also wanted to put that vulnerable side out of like, we don't have it perfect either. We're all human at the end of the day, and everybody needs help. So, that to the side, how do I prepare for my first therapy session? What I'm doing is I'm going to therapy because I need help with kind of like organizing my thoughts and processing my next moves, my next steps. So I know I've made some recent videos about a breakup, but therapy actually isn't about the breakup for me, but it's okay if you go to therapy for breakups. A lot of people do that. But I want to kind of clarify that I think sometimes we think therapy means you're going because some like crazy incident happened in your life and it's huge, and maybe you're depressed, or you just had a psychotic break and you're hearing things and you're seeing things, and we think that it has to be this huge moment, and sometimes it is. Like, of course that's good for therapy too, but sometimes it's a little bit more simple. And what I'm looking for is being able to sit down and really talk about like, okay, life's changing for me. I decided I'm not going to be moving back to Connecticut. I decided that I'm doing this on my own, so I need to have the confidence to do this on my own, to move forward and make plans and all of these things on my own. So I need to sit down with somebody and kind of process what that is like and have somebody else help me organize my thoughts, because my thoughts can be all over the place. And sometimes it's good to have somebody that can reflect back to you certain things or change perspectives or question you. And I love when a therapist questions me because it makes me think like, yeah, why did I make that decision? Or why did I think that way? Or why am I assuming this or that? So what I really want to get at, first of all, like I said, is that there's a bunch of different reasons why you can go to therapy, and there's never a wrong reason. If you just feel like, you know what, I need somebody to talk to because I got to figure some stuff out, go to therapy, right? When I decided to go to therapy, I had to think about like, what is it that I want? Because I think sometimes when, at least for me as a therapist, when people come to therapy and they're like, I'm not really sure what I want or what I'm looking for, sometimes the therapist has more influence on what the goals are, and they could be good goals. Like if you come in and say you're really sad and you're depressed, I'm going to make a goal of reducing depression. But that might not be the best goal because you know yourself better. So for me, when I'm preparing now as the client, I'm thinking, what is the goal that I want, right? I don't want somebody to tell me what my goal is. I want to know what my goal is. So the first thing I did was sit down and think like, why do you want therapy and what do you need out of it? So for me, I thought, okay, I need help processing my decisions to make sure I'm understanding the choices that I'm making, because this is kind of like a crucial part of my life. I'm making major decisions. I'm trying to start my own practice, private practice, to start my own business. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I'm working full time at a new job. I'm deciding to move out. I'm doing it on my own. I have to pick a location. Like, there's a lot of things, pieces moving in my life. So I need somebody to sit down and help me organize that. What I also need is somebody to help me with confidence. I'm a confident person when it comes to like, I could talk to you, I can have a conversation, everything like that. But I often overthink my decisions, and I'll run through the same scenario like a billion times, and I'll add in different things like, oh, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? Oh, wait a minute, I didn't think about this. And before I know it, I'm driving myself crazy, and it's not good. So when I go to therapy, what I want is to process and to build confidence, to know that the decisions that I make come from a good place. They will be the right decision. And even if they're not, I want the confidence to know I can handle it. Like, even if I end up picking a horrible spot and I realize later, like, this is not where I should have been and maybe I should pick a different location, that's okay. I'm going to be able to handle it. and I know I'm going to be able to handle it because, hello, I moved across the country and I've been living here for 6 years. It was totally out of my comfort zone. So if I can handle that, I can handle the move. But like I said, I need to be able to process that with somebody and really like sit down. It's almost like going to therapy and throwing a whole bunch of objects on the table and asking the person, can you help me organize this and put it into categories and feel like I have control over what's going on? And while we're putting them into categories, we're putting them into the categories that I want my goals to be. So over here, I want to reflect on how I know I can be confident and stop overthinking. Over here, I want to work on maybe processing this situation. I'm not going to get too much into detail, but there are other things going on in my life. Like I have a family member that is close to me that is sick. So I kind of want to process what that looks like, because now I've decided I'm not moving home. So I'm not going to be there physically through this whole process. So like, what does that look like? So there are other components that I'm not touching on in this video because I don't want to make it too personal, but basically I'm looking to organize. And the great thing about therapy is that you don't have to commit forever, right? So some people go to therapy and maybe they had a major life change. Like I said, maybe they just went through a divorce and they're dealing with heartbreak, but maybe they also have children and they're trying to figure out like how to split the time, and there's a lot going on. And maybe that will take a year of therapy. For somebody else, if I'm looking to organize, depending on how quickly we organize and process, like I might only be in therapy for 3 months. We don't know. So when I'm preparing, I'm kind of trying to keep an open mind. Like we're going to see where this process goes. I don't want to put a time limit on it. I don't want to say, okay, I need to be like through everything in 6 months, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know how much it's going to bring out in me. I don't know how long we're going to spend on each topic, like how long we spend on the sick family member, how long we spend on the decision making for moving, how long we spend on being overwhelmed about starting my own business. Like I don't know. So know what objects you're putting on the table as far as like what topics you're going to address, what goal you have for each topic, and how will I know I reached that goal? Because it would be easy for the therapist to say, okay, let's reduce your depression, right? And it's like, okay, but how do we know you reduced your depression? Sometimes we talk about like, okay, well, how many days of the week are you feeling sad? I feel sad every day of the week. Okay, so let's try to go from 7 days a week to 6 days a week. Or let's try to focus on one self-care day that just really helps you ground yourself and feel less depression. And then once we have done that for one day, we could do that for 2 days and expand it, right? So we want to know what our goal is. We want to be specific about it. And then we also want to know, like, what does that look like in our life? How do we know we're reaching our goals? Because we don't want to just have a goal but not really be able to measure it or understand what's going on. So knowing your goals, knowing what it would look like, and being open, because you don't know how long it's going to take and you don't want to rush anything. You don't want to put a time stamp on it and then, be done with therapy just because you said you're only going to do it for 6 months, but there's things that are lingering. So I would say have an open mind. Those are just my brief tips, and I actually think we could talk more about this if anybody feels it's necessary, but I just wanted to kind of put out, like, from a therapist perspective and a client perspective, like, what do you do to prepare for your first session? The last thing I'm going to say is it's okay to ask a lot of questions. It's okay when you're in there to feel nervous or anxious. I have a lot of clients that will come in and say, like, I feel awkward. I don't know you, and now I just have to talk to you. So however you feel once you get in the session is fine. You could do all of the preparing in the world, and you can go in there and still feel anxious, and that's okay. Just do your best to prepare and stay open-minded and let it happen. So with that being said, I'm going to let you go because I actually have to go to therapy, which is kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of really excited about it because I think, like I said, we're all human and we can all get help. Like, yeah, I'm just excited about this. And I hope that my therapist is cool and smart and understanding and like so many different qualities that I wish that, or I hope they have. So, okay, wish me luck, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.